Welcome back to my Horizon Zero Dawn Master Machine Hunting series. Horizon Forbidden West is less than 2 weeks away, and we only have a few more Zero Dawn machines left to round out this series. We recently covered Rock Breakers, and now we're tackling another rare and difficult machine, Behemoths. Just like Rock Breakers, Behemoths are tough even for seasoned Horizon players. So whether you're like me and you're replaying Zero Dawn to get hyped for the sequel, or you're brand new to the game and just trying to figure out how to take down these crazy machines, get ready to become a Behemoth hunting master. Behemoths are unique machines because of their ability to manipulate gravity. This enhances some very strong melee and ranged attacks, like the Shrapnel Blast and Gravity Purge. I also find that Behemoth's attacks are particularly difficult to avoid because they have extended animations and a delay before damage is dealt that makes it tricky to time your dodge. I'm sure Guerrilla did this intentionally to make the Behemoths extra hard, and it definitely works. So Behemoths are tough on their own, but what really makes them difficult is that you'll always find them accompanied by Longlegs, which are tough machines themselves. If you'd like some pointers on Longlegs, I'll leave a link to my video on them in the description. Anyway, if you come across the Behemoth Convoy, you'll have to deal with one Behemoth and one Longleg, which isn't terrible. However, the convoy is often passing by other machine sites, so it can quickly turn into a giant mess of a fight. But most of us are familiar with Behemoths from their single site in the northwest corner of the map. This site always spawns 2 Behemoths and 2 Longlegs, so it's quite the challenge. On top of that, we all pass by this site relatively early in the game on our way to Maker's End. Now if you're like me, you went ahead and tried to take these cool new machines down as soon as you saw them for the first time. And also like me, they probably smacked you pretty good. Well, I've fought quite a few Behemoths since that first time, and I'm here to show you that with some key weapons and a good strategy, you can take them on even at that first encounter. So first off, we're going to want to deal with those Longlegs so they don't interfere while we're fighting the Behemoths. Let's focus on the southern one first. This Longleg patrols a path that takes it right under a log pile trap. Now if you've never noticed these before, I don't blame you. The game doesn't do a great job teaching you to use these, and they mostly show up in hunting grounds. Basically, you can hit a log pile trap with an arrow to knock the logs loose and have them come crashing down onto a machine. This is actually a really strong tactic because not only does it deal a ton of damage, it's also relatively quiet so you won't alert other machines. For this Longleg, we want to wait until it's walked just past the center of the log pile before we hit it with an arrow. That's because it hops back as the logs start falling. If you time it right, you'll be able to kill this first Longleg with nothing but the logs. Now that we've taken care of that one, we want to run over to the northern Longleg. To deal with this one, we're going to start off with a Silent Strike. Now, I don't think a lot of players realize that you can Silent Strike a machine at any time as long as they aren't in red alert mode. Even if their alert level is yellow, you can still do it. It takes a bit of patience, but we can run up behind this second Longleg and deal a bunch of spear damage with a Silent Strike. Now if you watched my Longleg video, you know the next thing we want to do is hit the Sparker canister on its back with a shock arrow. This will cause an explosion that deals a bunch of damage to the Longleg and also stuns it. Go ahead with a critical hit to finish it off. At this point, the Behemoths will run over to investigate the explosion. Just like the Rock Breakers, our lives are going to be a lot easier if we can deal with just one Behemoth at a time. So we want to start tying them both down with a rope caster. Remember, a machine will stay tied down for 90 seconds as long as you don't deal any damage to it. Once you've got the first Behemoth tied down, it's important that you bait the second one a little ways away before tying it down. That's because our next step is to hit one of the freeze canisters on the first Behemoth's back with a freeze arrow. This causes a freeze explosion that freezes the Behemoth and also deals damage to it and anything nearby, which is why we don't want the other Behemoth nearby. Remember, we want to leave that one tied up for now, and damaging it would set it free. So now with our frozen Behemoth, we want to focus on dealing damage. Remember, arrows have a huge damage multiplier on frozen machines, so we want to take advantage of that and deal damage as quickly as possible. The best target is the force loader canisters on the Behemoth's neck. If you can hit one of them 2 or 3 times, it will explode and rip off some of the adjacent canisters at the same time, causing a ton of damage. Do this to a couple of canisters and the Behemoth will be down before you know it. Now of course, once you've exploded the freeze canister on that first Behemoth, it will get free of its ropes and come after you. To pull this strategy off, you need to keep your cool and focus on timing your dodge as well. A good rule of thumb with the Behemoths is to wait a split second longer than you think you need to before dodging. Like I mentioned before, many of the Behemoth's attacks have a long wind-up animation, so it's very easy to dodge too early. Do your best to get this timing down, and remember to use concentration and hunter reflexes to land shots on the force loader canisters while the Behemoth is frozen. Before you know it, you'll have the first Behemoth down and you'll be able to repeat these steps with the second one. So, let's take a quick look at gear and then we'll get into the live combat. Let's take a look at the outfit first. We'll use the Nora Protector Medium. This is a great all-arounder for the early to mid-game because it's relatively inexpensive and has high melee damage resistance. Most of the Behemoth's attacks are melee-based, so this will help us out. I've put a mid-tier blue melee resist weave in the mod slot to boost this stat even further. As for weapons, first we're going to need a rope caster. Now, unlike rock breakers, you can actually get away with using the blue Karja rope caster with Behemoths. I've put a few basic handling mods on mine so it shoots a little faster, but you should load yours up with as much handling as possible. If you can, I would highly recommend picking up the purple shadow version. It will let you tie down Behemoths with fewer ropes, and you can use it on big machines like rock breakers, thunderjaws, and stormbirds. Next up, we have the blue Karja warbow that gives us access to freeze and shock arrows, both of which we're going to need. Since we're going to be triggering elemental explosions from machine components, freeze and shock mods won't matter, so I just have some basic handling mods on here so we can load and shoot a little faster. Finally, we'll want precision arrows for dealing damage, so I'm going to use the Shadow Sharpshot bow. Now you could use the Karja or even the basic Sharpshot bows, but you'll struggle to deal damage fast enough with those because they have fewer mod slots to load up on handling and damage. I would highly recommend investing in the Shadow version as soon as you can. It's a great damage dealer for the mid to late game. On mine I've put a mid-tier blue handling mod and a couple of damage mods as well. Overall, I think this weapon loadout is pretty reasonable for somebody to get before they come across Behemoths for the first time. Taking a look at skills, as usual we'll want Hunter Reflexes and Concentration, both of which give us a slow-mo effect that will make it easier to aim at the freeze and force loader canisters on the Behemoths. We're also going to want Silent Strike and Critical Hit. Now eventually you'll want double and triple shot as well as fast reload, which will help you deal damage much faster, but these aren't necessary for this strategy. Quick side note, I've also removed all the damage mods from my spear to make this demo as realistic as possible for someone coming across Behemoths for the first time. Alright, let's jump into the live combat. Okay, so we're here at the Behemoth site, the only one on the map, and I'll just show you my difficulty level real quick. It's very hard, just like every video in the series. And so what's unique with the Behemoths, because they only have this one site, there's always two of them here, but there's also always two long legs, which is really annoying because they make the fight into a mess if you don't take care of them first. So we actually are going to take them out before we deal with the Behemoths. And if you guys, we're at the southern long leg here, if you guys didn't know, you can hit these logs. Sometimes these are around the map, and they'll do a ton of damage if you can time that right onto any machine. So you basically want to wait till that long leg's just a little bit past the center of the logs to do that. So we'll head over and deal with the northern long leg now. And we can highlight his track real quick. So he just kind of goes around this rock outcropping. So the way we're going to deal with this guy is we're going to silent strike him. And if you guys didn't know, you can silent strike a machine even if, as long as their alert level's not red. So even if their alert level's yellow, which is going to be here in a second, I'll slide in here. So even though he's yellow there, the symbol on top, we can still silent strike him. And then when he's down briefly, we want to hit a spark arrow on one of his, or a shock arrow on one of his shock canisters on his back. And if we need to, we can crit him one more time. And that takes care of him. So now the Behemoths obviously heard the explosion. They know we're here. And we want to start roping this one down. You can tell, even when they're partially roped, it like interrupts their attacks. You kind of saw that here with this one a second ago. So he's fully roped. There we go. Now we want to bait the other one away from him, because when we cause the explosion by hitting the freeze canisters, we don't really want them near each other because it has a pretty big damage radius. And if there's any damage dealt, it will want to get away from them when they do this one. If there's any damage dealt, even from like the blast of the freeze canister, it'll release both of them from the ropes. So we want to have one of them roped down while we're dealing with the other. That's why you want to get away from that. Okay, so now that this one's fully roped down and we have the full 90 seconds on him, I'm going to head back to the other one because he's almost unroped. We'll switch over to our freeze arrows, and I just want to use concentration and knock this canister on his back. And then we'll tee up our precision arrows, scan him, and we want to focus on hitting him in the neck and hopefully hitting the same canister a couple times in a row, like that. You can see like that did like half of his health is gone. So we'll try and do that on the other side as well. Didn't quite get it there. There we go. I'll take a healing potion. A lot of the Behemoth's attacks are hard to dodge because they kind of pause before they really do them. So you definitely have to get used to the timing. Practice that a little bit. It's frustrating at first for sure. So we'll hit this guy. And we'll scan him also. Get ready with our precision arrows. Hit this canister. Hit it again. When they explode like that, it doesn't do any damage to you. It knocks you back and stuns you, which is kind of annoying. And it's hard to avoid, but it doesn't do any damage. But it does do a bunch of damage to the Behemoth. So, we almost got this one. When they do this attack, just dodge to the sides, back and forth, and you'll be good. And there we go. Got them both. As you guys can see, this strategy really works well against the Behemoths. Just like in my Rock Breaker and Stalker videos, the key is using that rope caster to immobilize one while you deal with the other. It also really helps to eliminate those long legs first. Executing the whole strategy does take some practice though, so no worries if you don't get it on the first try. Remember, the dodge timing is different from most machines, so you'll have to practice that. Also remember that you don't need to fully draw your bow to get full damage. Partially drawing will give you full damage too, it will just be a little less accurate, but that's okay with a big target like the Behemoth. You'll be able to fire off arrows much faster if you can get comfortable with not fully drawing each one. Now I do have some extra tips for you guys. First off, as you get better weapons and mods, you'll want to transition to using hardpoint arrows instead of precision arrows to conserve resources. Behemoths always drop 2 purple mods, so you might be able to switch to hardpoint arrows faster than you think if you can get some good damage mods. My next tip is that, if you want to, you can try to destroy the crate holders to knock off the cargo container on the Behemoth's belly for some extra loot. Just like the cargo containers shellwalkers carry on their backs, these Behemoth containers have some loot in them. Use precision, hardpoint, or tear blast arrows to knock the crate holders off both sides to knock it loose. Just be warned that the extra time it takes to knock this off probably means the second Behemoth is going to join in the fight again, and in my opinion, the extra loot isn't usually worth it. Now if you're having trouble hitting those freeze canisters, go ahead and grab a sling so you can freeze the Behemoths with freeze bombs instead. This will make it much easier to get them frozen, but just know that you're going to have to deal more damage with arrows since you didn't get the damage from the freeze explosion. Speaking of damage, if you're getting frustrated trying to line up shots on those force loader canisters, grab a blast sling and use sticky bombs instead. Bombs don't have as big a damage multiplier on frozen machines as arrows do, but you don't need to be very accurate with them. Just load up the frozen Behemoth with some sticky bombs near the canisters. You'll use more resources crafting bombs versus arrows, but you'll have a much easier time dealing damage to the Behemoths. Alright guys, that's my master machine hunting guide for Behemoths. I think Behemoths are cool because they're so uncommon, but they're also very tough, so I hope this video helped you out. For all the Horizon pros out there, I'd be interested in hearing your favorite ways to deal with Behemoths, so go ahead and comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, or if you learned something, hitting that like button is always appreciated. I'm closing in on the last few Zero Dawn machines before Forbidden West comes out, and you guys know I'll be continuing this series for all the new machines as soon as it is. I also want to branch out and do other types of tips and tricks type content as well, so make sure you're subscribed for that. And leave me a comment if there's certain videos you'd like to see. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.